project that I want to share with you today is this one here. So I participate regularly in a color challenge. And so yesterday I needed to make something for the color challenge, and I thought I might as well make something that I can then share with you girls as well. So it's a simple wreath card, as you can see, and I love wreaths, and wreaths are always appropriate for sympathy, for Christmas, for Easter, for birthday. They're just always perfect. And so what I've used here, I'll just set that maybe here so it's still in the screen. What I've used here is the new Ornate Borders dies. And let me just show you, well actually why don't I just get my card foundation built first. So I've got a piece of the basic gray for the card base, and then I've used 5 5/8 by 3 7/8 inch. This is gray granite. You could also use smoky slate. And then I have a very vanilla that is 5.5 by 3 3/4. So just slightly smaller than this one. And I've gone ahead and already embossed that with the Pine Wood Planks embossing folder. This is just such a great folder. I've mentioned before, any of the folders that are really natural looking, like leaves, bricks, wood, they always kind of fit in with whatever you're doing. So I'm just going to adhere those together, and then we'll start on our wreath. And you can put that down flat. I like to use dimensionals. I'd normally put another couple on, but just for speed during this video, I'll just do that. Okay. Now to create our to create our wreath, rather than just freehanding that circle shape, a tip for you is to use your circle dies, or if you have quite large circle punches and you have two that are similar sized, then that could work. So I'm going to use two that are nested, so the one's just slightly bigger than the other. And what I've done is, I've already done it on this side, is I've cut the circle out of the smaller one, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut the larger circle around that existing hole. Okay, sorry, I'll just do that off camera quickly. And then what you're going to end up with is just this, like a ring. And I'm going to, it doesn't matter that it's not perfectly, I see it's a little bit thicker on one end than the other. It doesn't really matter. You're just giving yourself a little template to follow. Okay, and so we'll put that down. Now to create our wreath, we'll go back to what I started saying. I got a little ahead of myself. I've used this die from the Ornate Borders, and I've cut it out a couple times out of the Pear Pizzazz. But for this time, we're going to pull out what I've been calling, or saying to myself, the fish bones of it, these little fine leaf type pieces. Now then, this piece that you'll have remaining, you can use, we're going to use it on the inside of our card, but you could also use it on another card, you know, as a border along the bottom or along the side, but you can definitely still use that. So I've cut out a few of these, and then we're just going to adhere them on. Now, this one is fairly large, and I found it was a little bit too large. The longer they are, the less they curve. So for this one, I just actually cut off a bit of the end there. And then you'll just start building. Now, I'm only going to put adhesive along the end of it, and not too much, and just start. So I want to leave that part free, because this second one I'm going to actually tuck underneath, because we want our wreath to look really full. And don't worry, if you run out, you can always cut a few more. And it doesn't have to be perfectly round, you know, it can look a bit natural. so. And also, if you have little bits that you're not happy with, you can cover them later with rhinestones and flowers. So there's a lot of forgiveness with a wreath. Okay, I think one more. I have a few spare. Okay. And then you can have a look at it and decide if you need to add a few more in. You can tuck some more in as you wish. Move that out of the way. Now I'll just skip to our words. I'll let that dry just for a minute. For our words, I've used the stitched rectangles. You can always just cut a rectangle, but it does look super cute with the stitching. I've actually taken to just leaving this set out permanently on my desk because I use it so much. So I've used this really thin, this very smallest stitched rectangle, and I've done that also in basic gray. Sorry, I must have glue on my hands, and we'll just quickly white emboss that. Use the Emboss Buddy and our Versamark. Now, one thing I did learn, I'm using the Ornate Thanks stamp set, by the way, and this bundles with the ornate borders. Because these words are so fine, it's very easy to, when you stamp it, press so hard. It sounds like I'm being really aggressive, but if you press too hard, then the stamp will kind of spread, or smoosh is probably the word that describes what I'm thinking, and then you won't get that fine detail that you have with these stamps. So you may want to just do a couple of these and just practice using different amounts of pressure, and so you kind of get that good look that you want. But that's a good tip really for in general, not just photopolymer stamps, but any of our rubber stamps. If you press too hard, you start to lose the fine detail. And then I'm just going to heat that. I've lost my good reverse tweezers. I've actually lost a lot of things. I've noticed the last month. We've lost an entire board game. I don't understand where that would have gone, seeing as it's never left the house and it's one of our favorites. With that one, we'll use dimensionals for that. And because it's a skinny piece, I'll just use one of these edge pieces. Or if you have the mini dimensionals, you could use those. There we go, and you just place that wherever you want it to be. If you want it off to the side or down at the bottom, I kind of like it right there in the middle of the wreath. I mean, underneath the middle of the wreath. And then in that same die set, there's some little flowers. So I'm just going to ink the edges of those with the cherry cobbler. It just adds a little something to them so they're not just like flat, straight flowers. Maybe I'll put this one over here just to see if it looks better. Though I think I'm going to still prefer it over here, but there's no right or wrong. I figure when you're making multiples of something, you might as well kind of mix it up and make them a little bit different each time, just to learn what you like, what you don't like, what worked, what didn't work. Okay, so you put those on, and then I've cut those same little fish bones, as we call them, out of pumpkin pie, because this was the color challenge, was pumpkin pie, cherry cobbler, and pear pizzazz. Not probably colors I would pick normally, but it's really good to try the different things, you know. Okay, so I'll just tuck a few of those in, like little leaves. Actually, I've been going on walks lately, as I'm sure a lot of you have. Come on. And it's been nice seeing all the different colors of the trees and stuff right now. Oops, Then we'll just do a little bow out of linen thread. It just needed that little something there, I felt. So I'm just making 2 loops when I'm doing linen thread like this, and then just knot the 2 loops together and pull them out, and you'll get this really lopsided, too big bow, but you can just pull those tails until it's about the size you want. And I just want a little one and cut the rest off. I obviously cut way too much, but it's really hard and quite aggravating to make a bow out of the tiniest piece of ribbon. So I'd rather just cut a little bit extra and cut it off. Okay, then let's add some rhinestones. And this is an opportunity to put some rhinestones covering up any like little glue marks like that one, or any gaps in your leaves that you might feel, or any ends that you don't want showing, while adding a bit of sparkle and color too. Now these rhinestones are the holiday rhinestones, and these are still available. And I don't know officially what color that is, but I love this. This is the one I've used the most because it matches gold and the yellows and the oranges. Merlot, Call Me Clover, Blueberry Bushel, and Pool Parties. They're all really useful ones. So even though they say holiday, you know, try to not think, oh, they're just for Christmas, because they actually work with lots of different things. Okay, happier with that. I might continue to fiddle with the rhinestones, but you get the idea. You can add them till you're happy and use them as an opportunity to cover any marks that you're not happy with. Now then, for the inside of the card, I'm going to use one of these leftover pieces that we use to get our bits for our wreath. And just go ahead and adhere that onto a piece of the vanilla. And these pieces are the same size as the ones on the front. So in this case, the vanilla is 5.5 by 3 3 3/4, which is about my kind of standard size for a card front. At least if you're making cards with New Zealand sized cardstock. And then mount that onto a piece of the gray granite again. And then inside your card. Now then, for the envelope, this is the Ornate Style stamp set. So this is in the same suite, but it's not the same bundle, if that makes sense. So the suite includes the ribbons and the papers and the embellishments, 2 die sets and 2 stamp sets, where this one bundles with the Ornate Frames dies. So these are really gorgeous, particularly if you're a scrapbooker, but equally great for cards as well. So these 2 bundle together. So I just used this little border one for the, or not border, little corner one for the envelope, and just throw a few of those on there. It looks really nice. Okay, and there you go. I didn't see any questions coming through for those of you who are up early this morning, but you know, if you have questions about this or anything else, please ask, because the questions you ask me, it helps me know what information I need to be sharing with you as well. So in any case, keep looking for updates from me, especially on Thursday when that discontinuing list comes out. And I hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.